bus, train, bandwagon, roof, I fell off of it, you know, like all of them, I guess. I was not even intending to take a break. It just happened to me. Not to mention that all my hopes and dreams of becoming a self-sustainable perfume reviewer were crushed just a few weeks ago by eBay that absolutely banned and started enforcing the ban on all decants, which only reminds me to thank some of you guys. Some of my subscribers have been sampling perfumes almost exclusively, or at least including me in their shopping lists, which for a while made all of this rather promising to be sustainable activity that I could invest more time, thought, and effort into. Not anymore. For those of you who've been like asking and trying to figure out where's my eBay store and what happened, Mercari has banned decants, eBay has decisively banned decants. I'm not sure that Facebook allows them anymore either. So if you see any full-size bottles on my channel, there's a link below where you can send a donation. I'll probably try to make it just some kind of like online list of all of the perfumes from my collection, and you get what you see. Like I decant from my personal collection. It's a very limited type of distribution just to offset some of the basically like production costs. If you just want to like donate a teeny tiny small portion, I'll be eternally grateful. Thank you so much. I think I'm just like been processing all of that grief that things were starting to kind of pick up with this channel and with me making it, you know, like making the investment worth the return. And then it just got crushed by a blink of an eye of a huge tech platform. What else is new? Anyway, just to get back into it, we're gonna start with a Goldilocks type of video. I'm gonna show you my new perfume bottles. Last time I showed you my first ever purchase from Switzerland, from no other than Andy Tauer, the king of voluminous, voluptuous, rich, very dense, kind of delicious, dense, the gourmand perfumes. And I managed to fool myself into buying the wrong bottle. Well, long story short, an angel among people wrote to me and said, you know what, Maria, I think I'll like this perfume by your description. You should get the one that you originally wanted. Just go do it. Here's some money for you. So we did like a little bit of a handshake deal, and I got some funds. I sent her the bottle that I showed you before, and that was, what was it? I think it was like the heart of the desert, or air of the desert. I think it's devoted to Maghreb desert. And I actually went ahead and got myself personally signed, no less. If you order from Switzerland, if you order from Andy's hometown, so to speak, you might actually get a collectible signed card. Just saying. So this is the heart of the desert, Au Creux du Désert by Andy Tauer. This is the one. This is the one that stole my heart, that I just chickened out. It was a bit too expensive, and the number 2 that's supposed to be almost like this, but a little bit cheaper and a little bit more balanced, a little bit less angular in its profile. I got that one, so now hopefully it has found a loving second home, and I have this. I love it. I absolutely love it. Apparently, I was absolutely wrong in quoting. This is not the original. This is actually the second version. This is the newer version that is a little bit more angular, and the Air of the Desert is the OG, the original one, the one that kind of put Andy Tauer as a brand in olfactory design on the worldwide map. So actually the newer version is the one that I like more. It just has such a beautiful juxtaposition of these dry, heated, like hot air spices that kind of just like punch you in the nose, but then they kind of, when the dust settles, it becomes so soft and yet like just heating up with every breath. And there's like sudden, sharp, kind of leathery edge to this scent that just cuts the hot air through. Oh my God, this is the most beautiful, hot, spicy, kind of like desert-like, plus leathery whip, if you wish, type of perfume that I've ever tried. Love it, love it, love it. Already start wearing it. With Andy Tower, you only need few drops. They are very rich. They have like a lot of projection. They're gonna fill the room. So I wouldn't say that this is like office friendly or small spaces friendly, unless, you know, unless that's the intended effect. So happy I have it now. Exorbitantly more expensive than I ever anticipated. Very rare type of purchase for me when I order full price from overseas and I don't care because I have to have it. For me, it's very new practice. I'm like such a hard bargain hunter type of personality that doing something like this makes me feel very adult in my decisions. So I just wanted to report back that I found a second home for the air of the desert, and the heart of the desert is now mine. With that, what else did I get? I got a miniature this time. I was begging and begging them for a miniature, and they finally obliged. So for those of you who might not be aware, if you're ordering from the home lab of Andy Tower from Switzerland, any of the fragrances in full-size fragrance, you actually get either a sampler set or a miniature other perfume for free, which obviously is not the case if you ordered from a distributor basically anywhere else. So they took their mercy on me because I was begging. I already have a few sets. I really wanted a miniature of Wound Rose de Katahar, and I got it. I think this is 5 ml, yeah, which is, again, a very decent size for a perfume of that kind of density and that kind of projection. And the Rose Katahar is kind of very misty, patchouli, kind of like mossy. Like it gives you this like thick, mossy fog impression with this slight, subtle, gourmand, rosy, I wouldn't say spiciness, but there's something parfait, rose parfait about this kind of rose. Rose patchouli combination has been done and done over and over through the decades. This is one of the classic olfactory designs, but Andy always finds a way to put his signature stamp on every olfactory design he produces. So if you do like the kind of things that Andy is famous for, I would say Fille Une Rose de Katahar is one of their more dessert-like, delicious but yet mossy, patchouli green, slightly foggy type of rose scents. I am excited to start wearing it, and I'm so happy to have this. Like, look at this. They're like a perfect duo, don't they? Don't they? I know. Like the shelf appeal is the wrong way to go about buying perfumes, but you know, it's a product. Everything about a product is important when you're trying to reach a rather spoiled audience like we are these days. There's so many niche brands, there's so many scents, there's so many things to choose from, and let's just face the facts, they aren't cheap. The niche perfumes, they aren't cheap. So when you get to the point of actually having something that is not only functional, beautiful, well designed, but also has conceptual appeal, I think this is pretty awesome. Alright, one thing for sure, I really need to slow down on decants. So I got my subscription from Scentbird, and I think at this point, I'm fairly confident I pause it for a couple of months because it's becoming unmanageable. I even did the project that I organized most of my decants, at least the vast majority of them, by alphabet, just to make it more into a reference library, which was my dream originally, because once you go past the 200 plus size in olfactory library, organizing things by brand, I don't know, color, bottle size, or even olfactory families, it just doesn't function anymore. It has, in order to be retrievable and in order to be functional, it has to go by like one of those library systems, to be honest. So yeah, I'm getting like that dorky and geeky about it these days, because I still want to use all of the things and like and kind of upload them to my memory as much as possible. But just, you know, putting pretty bottles on the shelves is just not doing it for me anymore. So anyway, the 3 decants that I got this time, let's start from this one. This is Robert Piguet Gardenia. Let's find that. So this is how they usually look like, unless you order a special case. This is not it. We're gonna get to it eventually. Here we go. Robert Piguet Gardenia. Robert Piguet, to my experience with their perfumes, it's a very, like, again, if you haven't heard of it, it's a historic niche perfume house. Well, it's actually designer. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Robert Piguet was a designer who also made perfumes. God, I should have checked this before opening my mouth and blabbing. But anyway, I think they went bankrupt at some point, and then they were reinvented again fairly recently in the 20th century, and since then they've kind of been pumping back some of their signature iconic scents. So what makes Robert Piguet interesting to me, that in a way they are similar to Micallef and actually Andy Tower in the way that their perfumes have a lot of density and substance. Whether they are loud or quiet or skin-like or like spicy or more austere really depends on the composition. So this is Gardenia, but they're always like, they're never too industrial or too flat. And this is why sampling them is always, for me, they're always on the menu. Like anything Robert Piguet, I'm kind of interested to see what's there. But also one thing that I wanted to add to it, Robert Piguet, at least the fragrances that I've tried, kind of tend to run more gourmet and more patchouli-like green patchouli. Think patchouli oil, almost like hippy-dippy type of patchouli. And even though this doesn't say, the Gardenia doesn't say that it has patchouli, I still get the same type of, you know, like green patchouli oil type of profile. Here we have Fleur de Lis. This is why I actually ordered it. It's leather with lily. Love leather, love lily. Why is it called Gardenia though? The point, like I'm missing the point. It does have Ylang Ylang and Madagascar and Vanilla and Cashmeran, but all that said, all I sense is somewhat damp, sweet tea. Like, you know, like it's like maybe like a piece of leather that was soaked in kind of stale sweet liquid and kind of was left to mold. There's some kind of like this dumpy, moldy aspect to it that I don't like, and yet the sweetness here is more like caramel-like, which is very typical. If you see along in the pyramid of any perfume, again, all of these pyramids, I don't know how many people are aware, it's all just a marketing language. It doesn't necessarily mean that there is anything in particular that is representative of Ylang Ylang or any other way, but when the evaluators try to compose a verbal description of what something smells like, you know, these type of notes is usually to make it a little bit more palatable, a little bit more translatable to the consumer. This is how a lot of perfumes end up with pyramids like that. Some of it is more true, so there might be like a neroli oil in a certain composition. Some of them are less true. So anyway, the kind of the vanilla / caramel type of sweetness here, like hard candy in a way, this is like not my cup of tea. Just not for me. But if you like the kind of thing, it's definitely here. I don't even smell much of a lily. It's just like some diluted syrup that somebody soaked the piece of leather in and just left it in some dump corner to mold. It's weird. To me, it's weird and has nothing to do with Gardenia. So the name is a bit of a mismatch, I think, in this case. So it's a definite flaw for me. Okay, like I've spent like 10 minutes just explaining that I didn't like the perfume. But I was trying to give you a bit of a flavor in case that if this might be your cup of tea. For me, I'm desperately looking for a second home for this because I'm not even gonna wear it. It's just, despite all the right notes, nothing of the kind, nothing of the kind impresses me usually. All right. Now we're transitioning to a continuation of my spontaneous exploration of the house of Sisley. I know that a lot of people call them adult perfumes in a way that the compositions, somewhat similar to what people say about Frédéric Malle, are very unapologetically cerebral, potent, loud, and yet they're not girly. They're not trying to appeal to the lowest common denominator. So in that way, Sisley, also being a rather expensive niche brand and having a lot of the scents that have decades of legacy, it was intriguing to me, but I was a little bit shy in terms of, all right, I don't know if I can handle that kind of perfumery on myself. Nevertheless, when it came to decants, Scentbird has at least two that I was interested in. So let's start from Eau de Soir. Basically, explosion of citruses on the background of amber. It's so bitter. Ooh. This is surprisingly bitter for the fact that they are talking about mandarin, jasmine, which tends to sweeten up any olfactory composition. I don't know what syringa is, and I'm sure most people probably don't. Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Grapefruit. Okay, this is the kind of chemical grapefruit that I expect and I remember from Guerlain Aqua Allegoria. You know it, and I know it. We both know it. Pamplemousse. Right? Yeah. Again, in the world of perfume lovers, Pamplemousse by Guerlain is considered to be kind of like bread and butter type of grapefruit scent. Like, you want something grapefruity, you don't want to think about it, but you want like something like as a perfume, like something, with name and the reputation, the legacy. Pamplemousse by Guerlain. You're good. I had it, and it was just like a chemical attack to me. So apparently I'm very bullish, I'm very picky about what kind of sharp, bitter, citrusy scents I find to be realistic and pleasurable, like enjoyable. I wouldn't say that this is one of those. This one I'll definitely wear in hot weather and see if somehow it gets softened by the Florida heat, or maybe opens up from an unusual angle, but so far this is just so piercingly bitter that I don't know how to make this work. Eau de Soir by Sisley, so far a bit scary, a bit of a scary experience for me. And the other one, the third one that I got from Scentbird is Easy La Nuit, which is as far as I know, a newer flanker of Easia. So its fame to claim is that they managed to combine, again, this kind of aldehydic, this piercing, a very bright DNA of Sisley perfumes with blackcurrant, rose, magnolia, and a little bit sweetened by vanilla. So magnolia, freesia, and vanilla, and rose here are semi-sweet, but it still has this like kind of signature sour, slightly aldehydic, cutting through the air presence. I'm sure blackcurrant also contributes both to the sweetness and the sourness of it. So I was very intrigued to dive further into kind of sour, musky, sweet, berry type of compositions. It's not the comfort zone for me for sure, but this year I really wanted to dive there and see how far I can push myself into kind of making it my own and trying to understand the appeal. The Eastern Europe, especially Russia, is all about sour musks plus lychee, like tropical fruits or berries. This is like the absolute best-selling profile in that region. Much less known in Europe and the States and Asia, but again, If you know something, if you're local, let me know. How is it for you in your community? But it's interesting. That's about as much I can say. I need to wear this. This is definitely something, Sisley perfumes are definitely something you need to give time. You need to give it a lot of space if you're really trying to push your nose and your brain to recognize not even just the notes, but recognize specific molecules. And this is the ultimate kind of pro level of being in this space, that you can actually recognize a specific molecule and have more or less of a memory database of how they combine and mold into something else together, different molecules. This is a very high bar. This is usually the bar that is, the pros, perfumers have to meet in order to stay afloat in this industry. But even for people who just like wearing perfumes and like kind of this whole biochemical hacking that our nose does to the surrounding environment, sometimes forcing yourself to study, explore, and adapt to a rather unfamiliar family of smells is the way to go. Eventually, you have to break out of the everyday, like your favorites and like sexy or gourmand or whatever that is your comfort zone. So for me, the lychee musks, berry musks, kind of this rosy, sour, sweet type of combos was always a bit of a no-no because it was that popular where I'm from. And only now, decades later, I'm slowly dabbing my feet into it. But even this is not it with Sisley. I got my subscription from fragrancenet.com. You can also subscribe to decants there. I paid for the whole year, which made it roughly, if you want to benchmark the pricing, like $12 per 8 ml, which is very good for at least some of the niche perfumes you can get there. Unfortunately, both Perfume.com subscription service and FragranceNet.com subscription services, even though they are like one of the most affordable, their selection leaves a lot, like War and Peace amount of commentary that I could provide, a lot to be desired. There's a lot of improvements that could easily be done in the inventory. Just saying. However, a few things are really cool to get to for that kind of price. So here we have Sisley Soir d'Orient, another flanker, where I think Sisley Soir, it's called Soir. The Orient version obviously adds a lot of incensey, sharp, like the spices here are not soft and edible. They're not like cinnamony, like these kind of baking spices. They're rather leathery and sharp and dry, almost like black pepper or different kinds of peppers can be. So the Middle Eastern influence here is very much a little bit sadistic. I would call it that, because there's absolutely nothing about this perfume, like again in contrast with the Heart of the Desert by Indy Tower, that is like enveloping, sweet, gourmand kind of spices. They're also like, they're not super damp, wet or misty. They are dry, like the dry air of the desert, which is the kind of the inspiration behind the perfume, but they still have this very soothing effect overall. The Oriental Spices in Soir d'Orient by Sisley, very much in accordance to their DNA of how they make perfumes. It's just like a whip, it's just like bam, bam, and again. I imagine if Sisley wanted to make a Marquise de Sade type of perfume, and those of you who have been with me for a while know what kind of perfumes we're talking about, this could be it. Totally could be. It's just punchy, a little bit Marlène Dietrich kind of in style, at least to my nose. But it's fun. I will totally wear this one. Apparently, somehow, allegedly, a lot of people guess that I have like a lot of the dome qualities. I had to Google that. But I definitely like perfumes that are reminiscent of that stylistic. That's all I can say, to be honest. That I'm that naive. All right, let's move on. An exchange, a very lucky exchange that I did with my friend from New York, Bella. And what did I send her? Oh yeah, I sent her État Libre d'Orange, La Fin du Monde, The End of the World, which is basically metallic popcorn and popcorn-like Baccarat Rouge, which was created way before Baccarat Rouge hit the market. So if you're looking for something within kind of that family, but with different twists and actually more OG than the Baccarat Rouge itself, La Fin du Monde by État Libre d'Orange. As many of you know, Baccarat Rouge is not quite my cup of tea. This is why you'll never find a review of it on my channel. So we swapped. I got myself a rather, like I was surprised that I chose this one, but Bella sent it to me in the blind tasting challenge. And this is Malin and Goetz, which, if I'm not mistaken, they are based in New York. And they are both from one of the Nordic countries, Scandinavian. But like the business and the production, as far as I know, is based in New York. So they have their own line. I absolutely adore their Atelier Bloem line. I have a lot of favorites there, and I have a full house review if you're interested. So this is another line that they have, very simplistic, almost primitive type of packaging. But what really caught my eye in this particular fragrance, and it is called, I've been talking for 3 minutes and haven't told you what it's called. It's called Stem, or The Stem, right? Yeah, Stem. So this is dedicated to all parts and olfactory associations that you can get from a flower. Just like a stem of a flower or flowers. When I was sampling it blindly, what I got was this super creamy, super soft, slightly nudie kind of like, it sits close to the skin type of perfume. And I was guessing lotiony, maybe lilac-y, maybe this, maybe that, maybe like there's a rose parfait, maybe like there's like this sweet, delicate, very, very much angelic type of scent. And when I learned that it's supposed to be stems, which I imagine are zesty, green, maybe bitter, like the two, I just couldn't put together two and two. And I was in such shock that the masters of perfume making would insist that this is how stems, the floral stems, smell like. I had to get it. So this is mine now. Stem by Malin and Goetz. You can buy it in some boutiques. I think Nordstrom and such. It's not cheap, let me tell you that, but it's not like crazy expensive either. Again, I just want to study it more and to make sense of why the descriptions that I read online and the notes are so wildly different from what I smell with my nose. It's kind of a mystery right now. Another one is a bottle of Bottega Veneta Not, which unfortunately Bella dropped, so she had to decant it to a different bottle. So don't mind the bottle, the smell. Bottega Veneta Not. Okay, this is a very sweet, polished, very well-rounded neroli scent. Unfortunately, I almost thought it was tuberose, to be honest, for a moment. It's not the kind of neroli. This is the kind of neroli that kind of annoys me. And again, almost everything, with the rare exception, that Bottega Veneta does is well crafted. You with exceptions of their most recent designer releases, like the not the boutique line, but like the more affordable one. Don't know. But like their older perfumes are just superb. Like to this day, I don't know of a better leather shipper as the original Bottega Veneta Eau de Parfum. But when it comes to Not, like I can subscribe under like high quality, semi-sweet, semi-soapy, slightly tuberosy, even though tuberose is not really listed, kind of scent. You know, it gives you this like luxury feel. It does. It's very well polished. But oddly enough, to me, it's boring. It's just a little bit too middle of the road kind of. To me, it's like, what would I compare it with? Like, it's what Lululemon became. It's like, yeah, sure. But it's not edgy anymore. It's not new. It's not interesting enough, at least not for me. It's like one of those things was like, yeah, like I can always rely on it, but do I really get anything incremental, anything edgy, anything new, or anything super duper comforting, or just so perfectly done that it just opens and closes the whole chapter of olfactory design? It's neither. It's just well crafted designer perfume, and that's about it. So again, if any of you wants a bit of action here, a little bit of a decant, I will try to write in the description how we can connect, maybe via PayPal, because right now I'm a little bit in devastation and grief in trying to figure out what to do with our usual decant exchanges and purchases, because right now no big platforms allow them. As of now, they're banned everywhere. And another very lucky sampler that I got from a subscriber. And again, if any of you guys want to send me like a little pack of something to try, or this particular one is a blind tasting challenge, thank you so much. I'll be eternally grateful. My blogger address is below. So this is gonna be interesting. I also got a massive, I think there are dozens here, and all of them are for blind tasting. So I'm not sure it's even feasible to do such a challenge in one video. So I'll be doing it in little, just like I'll just grab a few. I don't know how many is even feasible to do in one video blindly. Probably 7. That's where I would probably stop. Thank you so much, guys. It's so exciting. And a few more things that I got from Bella. Well, first of all, just for the gag of it, she sent me a fake Tiziano Terenzi that she, as many of us, you know you've done it too, don't judge, that we bought from eBay trying to save a buck or two. It's so unapologetically poorly done that there's not even a question if it's fake. So she was kind of interested in Tiziano Terenzi Porpora, which is one of the very few Tiziano Terenzi fragrances that I actually enjoy wearing on myself. It's basically devoted to this Barocco gypsy rose. It's just over the top. It's the Bulgarian rose oil, the Turkish rose, and the sweetness, and a bit of a kind of edible gourmand notes and this and that. It's just very out there. It's very much like night out in Las Vegas type of perfume. And I must say, the fake, actually, I have a decant of Porpora. The fake actually somewhat does go in that direction. It's just not nearly as deep, as vibrant, and as multifaceted as the original. But like at this point, I think I have like a collection of fake bottles. It's becoming a thing. It's becoming a theme between me and my subscribers. Just every time somebody gets like an atrociously poorly made fake, they ended up sending it to me. And some very cool decants. As you can see, I'm trying to be responsible. I'm trying to be very responsible and actually uphold the rules of my low buy this year. Last month I failed miserably at it. I think I'm somewhat better this month, don't you think? Because we're like almost done with full bottle kind of stories. So the only one thing that I'm going to show you here is like a travel size. This is David of Cool Water. Thank you, Bella, because a while ago, not like just a month ago or so, I got a few decants from a very new, very expensive niche brand called The Harmonist. And they have, and again, it was rather like, let's be real for a sec. It was rather a disappointment. I mean, I was glad to try them. I was very curious about them, and I got them for a very decent price from Scentbird. But like when you consider like the whole, you know, like the political offer, so to speak, of the Harmonist, it left me bewildered. Like, why? The one that I liked the most was actually, guess what? Fruity Aquatic, watermelony one, and it's called Guiding Water. And as soon as I smelled, I was like, what does this remind me of? So I didn't have Davidoff Cool Water on hand to compare, but now I can. So those of you who are very interested in comparing super high-end, new, hot, niche brand with something that you can buy at almost any gas station, let's be honest, and see who wins, let me know in the comments down below. Alright, some very awesome decants that I got to try. Nishane Ani. I don't have anything by Nishane, and I don't know, should I? Should I bother? Anything worth considering? Please let me know. So Ani, I can try it, so I have 5 ml. Mugler Angel Nova. This is to my collection of sweet fruity perfumes that I've been having an obsession with all early spring. Ganache Perfumes, which they do, like, it's an indie perfumer, I think. Ganache Perfumes is based in Berkeley. They do very realistic, almost like to the point like, where's the cake? You know, that kind of edible gourmands. They are like known for it. Some of their compositions are iconic by now, especially in the world of people who like literal edible gourmand type of scents. I had a mocha scent by them, which I already found a second home for, but it was like so realistic that I like at that point was like, just give me mocha at this point, you know, like it's torture. I want my mocha. I want not only to smell it, I want to drink it. So this is Ganache Perfumes Peach Daiquiri, which is devoted, I mean, it's the same thing, like now I want peach daiquiri. It's too good. It's too believable. This is kind of the problem personally for me with edible gourmands. When the design of the molecules and of the overall profile of a scent hits too close to home, and it's not in some way reimagined, twisted, or interpreted, as fun as it is, it's like, oh, smell of dirt. Well, this is smell of kitten fur, you know, this is peach daiquiri. As fun as it is to kind of like, oh, wow, you can do this. It doesn't leave a lasting impression. It doesn't become a signature perfume, at least not in my book. So anytime a perfumer goes for something very specific from the everyday world, I find what makes a difference between an odorant, something you put in food or a drink, like a cocktail mixer, and a perfume, like haute couture type of olfactory design, is that particular kind of twist, that a little bit of a departure. You get the hint of it, but it's not it either. So Peach Daiquiri by Ganache Perfumes to me is very literal. This is something that you will smell if you open the bottle of Peach Daiquiri mixer, you know, like one of those pre-made cocktails. I'll give it a go. We'll see if it grows on me beyond the kind of like, huh, cool. Givenchy Pie Extreme. Oh, the pie by Givenchy. I loved it. I loved it on someone many years ago, when it was this sweet, ambery, slightly resinous, soft, spicy heaven. Still remember those days. And I bought it again a few years ago, trying to recreate, at least bring back the memories. And it was like a watery, unspecial, rather forgettable mess. So, Bella tells me that the Pie Extreme is a slightly more punchy, a little bit flatter, but much more the kind of the flanker with more presence. Like there's more of original presence, but less of original sweetness. Say that 10 times fast. Okay, let's try that. I'm just gonna try it right here. I rather agree. It kind of makes, to me, an unpleasant transition toward like the world of men colognes, but at the same time it does have a little bit of that original mystery and kind of the softness that the pie had. If you're a big fan of Givenchy pie, let me know which flankers or recreations of that you find to be the most true and the most delightful to wear. I would love to repeat this experience, but at this point I feel like I'll have better luck just finding something similar in the overall world of niche perfumes rather than trying to find the right pie by Givenchy. Tom Ford Costa Azzurra Aqua explicitly begged for it, because, I need a piece of paper, because I am transitioning to a new obsession which is basically the trend of 2020 and even more of a trend of 2021, the new generation of salty, somewhat swampy marine aquatics, where you usually feel the combination of somewhat of a algae or, like somewhat this kind of green swampy feel, the definite salts and the dry woods, plus the marine kind of like all this like oceany type of impression. It's the aquatics of 2020 and 2021, like this trend of salty reclaimed wood type of aquatics, it's very different from what we are used to think of as aquatic perfumes. And this is why it really excites me that it came back in a completely different form. I'm low-key obsessing with perfumes like that. And if you guys are interested, I would be more than happy to make a bit of an overview of what kind of options we have on the market right now. So, Tom Ford Costa Azzurra. First of all, love the new packaging. Just for the bottle alone, I'm kind of like... And the profiling of the scent is just so. Which could be plus and could be a minus. It could be a plus if it's just like, if you want like a perfectly balanced one, here you go. And this is what usually Tom Ford goes for. But for some of you, my beloved niche enthusiasts, this might be just a little lacking in personality. Only time will show. I'm excited to start wearing it. This is again Costa Azzurra Aqua by Tom Ford. And I think this is the last one, maybe? No. I have one more. This is Jo Malone Vetiver and Golden Vanilla. At this point, it's me against the world, I feel, with Jo Malone. I keep not getting it. I just keep not getting the price point for the kind of forgettable body spray type of scents you get there, but I truly am in the minority here. So my subscribers, including Bella, just keep sending me the decants of Jo Malone. Say like, Maria, you gotta try this. This is really good. This is really good. You'll fall in love with Jo Malone. And I don't. And this is no exception. Yes, I'll give you that. This vetiver with golden vanilla, basically, at first to me smelled like Earl Grey. Now I kind of, again, the nose adapts to it. I immediately can detect this slightly smoky, kind of dry, woody presence of vetiver. It's sometimes how it is in, again, colognes for men, so to speak. The vanilla here is almost fruity to me. I don't know what else is in the pyramid. Vetiver and golden vanilla. It's fine. See? It's fine. It's fine. Is it $100 worth of fine? No. Maybe it's just me. I'm pretty sure it's just me, actually. At this point, you guys make it abundantly clear that I should stop trashing Jo Malone, otherwise bad things happen. Bad things happen to perfume reviewers who go against the mainstream. I learned my lesson. Okay, the last one, and the one that definitely needs a dedicated review, not just dedicated review, like I need to pull everything I have of this kind to give you the rundown of the best and the worst. So, this is Tiziana Terenzi Ville, or Vele, V-E-L-E, V-E-L-E. Another rather kind of like second runner in terms of the spring-summer trends in perfumes. These very well-rounded, kind of rhubarb heavy, refreshing yet not bitter type of green scents that in a way it makes me think of, yeah, you see, like I'm just gonna talk forever here just about this type of subfamily of fragrances, and I think it's worth a separate review just to give you like all the options and tell you a little bit about like what I love the most and the least and why. So Tiziana Terenzi Ville might be the second Tiziana Terenzi that I vibe with rather well, which is rare. Okay, all right, let's see if I missed anything. Nope, we're good. This is my monthly haul. I think I did much better this time. Most of this stuff was either decant exchanges, bottle exchanges, and how many bottle purchases do we have here? Just one. I truly am doing better. Come on. You gotta give me that, right? It's a prohibitively expensive bottle. Let's also face the fact that I could have easily gotten, like, oh, the biggest haul in my life and just showed you 10 bottles. Instead, I bought one, and I'm very proud of it. Because I finally got what I wanted. I got it from Andy himself with his signature. So, this is something to celebrate. Alright, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please let me know if anything kind of sparked your interest lately, what I should look out for, any recommendations, any pros and cons, any favorites or maybe flops, what kind of perfumes really disappointed you lately. Please let me know. Tell me everything. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.